we're going to go ahead and send up the prayers and then read the disclaimer.
All right, brothers, make sure your heads are uncovered, sisters' heads covered. Everyone face east.
Men of Israel, no trumpets.
Heavenly Father, as always, thank you for allowing us to see one more Sabbath, one day closer to your kingdom, Lord. As you continue to watch down over the congregation, continue to bless us, lead us, guide us, and deliver us. Continue to make the time short. Take away our enemies that are out to destroy us, Lord. Destroy their plans, destroy their wickedness as they try to hurt us and consume us, Lord. As you deliver us out of this hellhole, as you continue to watch over us, bless us, lead us, guide us, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen.
Whoa. All praises, all praises. Let's read the disclaimer. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus 5:1.
You said that's good. Okay. All praises, all praises. So today's topic today, Israel, today's topics. We're going to deal with this. We dealt with it before, but it's back in the news, and it's more people that's interested in this topic as well, that has a voice that's speaking up on behalf of the people in Mississippi. Okay, so the class is titled No Justice in Mississippi Prison System. All right. But we go dive deep into it because, you know, the spirit in which Esau with the prison system is correlated with what? Slavery. All right. The issue that's going on in Mississippi is at like 4 major prisons. All right. And we're going to read the article to start us off that's dealing with what's going on in Mississippi prison system. All right. Let's read that. If you got that article. First article with the pro-republic. Y'all got that?
Hey, Cal, while they're bringing that article up, just looking at the overall prison system, it's just the fact that, like you said, when you're into that system, you go back into slavery. Because a lot of people don't know, you actually give up your rights once you are arrested and you're incarcerated into that system. You go back into slavery, and it's not
Yes,
just
sir.
happening here in Mississippi. It's actually happening all over. It's just that this one happened to come to the spotlight.
And no, yes, that's true. But in actuality, Mississippi has the highest incarceration rate in the United States. So that's another main focus in why Mississippi is continue to be put out there with their destructive system of so-called prison reform. You got it? Let's read that.
Justice Department says it will investigate deadly conditions at 4 Mississippi prisons. The agency's Civil Rights Division decided to act after a letter from prison reformers citing stories by Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting and ProPublica. The U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division has announced an investigation into 4 Mississippi prisons a month after deadly riots led to prolonged lockdowns. Justice Department officials will look into conditions at Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchman, the South Mississippi Correctional Institution in Leakesville, Central Mississippi, Correctional Facility facility in Pearl and the privately operated Wilkinson County Correctional Facility run by Management and Training Corps.
Yes, sir.
The investigation will focus on whether the Mississippi Department of Corrections adequately protects prisoners from physical harm at the hands of other prisoners at the 4 prisons, as well.
So hold on. Throughout this class, you go see. We're gonna play a video as well. That one of the supporters are bringing this to the light, which is Jay-Z and Yo Gotti. You go see a video of just violence going on, and we can't play the whole video, but there's something we'll post it on the page so they can be able to go watch it themselves. But the main prison we go focus on today, but it's all of them is in being investigated. But the Parchman prison, the Parchman Penitentiary, all right. So basically, we're going to focus on basically the living conditions in the prisons. You know what I'm saying? Because what you read in the article is showing you that, and it's more in the article as well. I couldn't see it. It's kind of small, but it's important that it talks about how many guards per inmate. How many guards per inmate is 1 guard per 160 inmates. Does that make sense at all? No. How could 1 guard keep in order, keep from fighting, stabbing, all these different things, 1 guard for 160 men? It makes no sense. Go ahead, officer.
Hey, Cap, when I worked at Pulaski Unit, which is down in Livingston, Texas, that's true. You'll have those cells. Cell blocks will be 80 to 100 people per cell block, and you have maybe 2 guards, one at the main desk, and then you have guards that rove the building. Right. This is during the night. It's more in the daytime, but at night, because in the daytime you got administrative, you got visitors, and all that other stuff.
A lot more going on.
Yeah, shipping coming in, food, people that work in the commissary, stuff like that. But during the nighttime, that's when a lot of times it's just the ratio of correctional officers to inmates is way less. Some prisons probably way less than that, because they animals in a cage to them.
Basically. And it's going to say that in the other article we go read as well. But I want to start off, go to 2nd Advocacy 11 to 38. Because remembering what happened in slavery is the same thing that's happening today, just in a different form of, like Oscar Rogers, I said, slavery today is prison system, so-called prison reform, which they're really not reforming you or nothing. If you're living in these harsh conditions to where, what is it? You have, I know I wrote it down. You got rat feces. You have, what is it? Hold on. You have all these different things. I know I wrote it down somewhere.
Hey, Cap, I remember us looking into it a while back in one of the classes we did. It was, like you said, rat feces.
Right.
The living conditions as far as like the electricity, the thing was, the wires was showing.
Mm-hmm.
They had the toilets backing up.
Right.
When it rained real bad a few months ago, they had the prison was flooding.
Right.
Yep. They was living in that water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes, sir.
Unsanitary conditions.
That's it. That's it.
Small amounts of food.
Mm-hmm. It's not habitable for humans, basically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Read that.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 11 and verse 38. Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remaineth of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression.
So it's the scripture showing us that Esau is that one that overcame with much wicked oppression. Okay, the oppression that this nation has done to us is like none like any other of the past captivities we've been in. All right, because remember they've compiled all those and taken them for themselves to make it to be even worse for us. All right, so keep reading.
And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth. For thou hast afflicted the meek. Thou hast hurt the peaceable.
So let me read 41 again.
For the earth hast thou not judged with truth.
It say, for the earth hast thou not judged with truth. Just think about it. In the conditions that our brothers living in, and sisters as well, in these prisons in Mississippi, some of them haven't did any violent crimes that meet to the stature of their punishment. I say it like that. You know what I'm saying? This system that's set up is not judging accordingly to the crime. It's judging off of these set mandates of sentencings.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay, you did this, 20 years. 20 to life or whatever the case may be. This is what's going on.
Right.
But you have people in there that haven't done those type of violent crimes, for as murders and things of that nature, to fit the conditions they living in.
Right.
The punishment, basically.
You even have some that are false accused, false accusations.
That too. Right.
That's right.
And also, you have in there individuals who on pretty much a first time offense, and they probably have the punishment was harsh for regular county jail, so they had to go to state prison.
Right.
So in the state prison, I think it's 2 years and up, or you're up, and so you forced to go to a state prison. And when you go to a state prison, they'll have you in there you have 1 or 2 years. You'll be serving time with somebody in there with life, or which they call football numbers,
Right.
to where they got 40 years. They don't have no respect. For a person who getting out 2 years, when I'm not seeing I'm not seeing the daylight.
Right.
I'm not seeing the free world until 40 years. Or I'm not even coming home. I got to do 40 years before I even see parole.
Right.
Right.
Or 20 years, and you put me next to a person that got 2 years. That's why a lot of times it's like quicksand when you get in there. When you go there, and a brother going there for a drug situation, and that land him in jail for like a couple years, and next thing you know, all of a sudden he got 15 years attached on him. Why? Because it's a whole nother world there, and they know it's another world there.
Right.
That you're not supposed to put nobody who got 2 years in the same cell as a person who have life.
Right.
You come on, man.
Setting
That's
them up.
crazy. That's a setup.
Mm-hmm.
That's doomed for failure.
Pretty
Right.
much. That person that got life, he don't care what happens.
That's right.
He go kill, he go stab, he go do whatever it takes for him to stay alive, or for him to make his time easier in there,
Right.
versus somebody that's in there 2 years. It don't make sense.
Can
Yes,
I
sir.
pull a precept just to touch on everything that you're going into, to where it can set the tone on where we are at? Get 2nd Esdras 4:23, because these things we have to understand as a people, and that's why even the class that was so powerful and so heavy, what the bishop went into last night, is to show you that it's a system that's created for your failure.
That's right.
It's a system that's created to orchestrate everything, to control life, to control your day-to-day your day-to-day activities, your day-to-day thoughts.
Thoughts, right.
It's a whole system for this, to where even how you look at prisoners. So when he's a prisoner, we're not supposed to look out for him. We're not supposed to care for him. He's a drug dealer.
That's right.
Right.
He's a murderer. He's a
That's right.
gangbanger. He's a monster. He
Minister-
deserved to be in there. That's their mindset. So
Right,
if we
right.
deserve to be there for petty crimes, what about the people who brought the drugs here?
Right.
What about the people who had the highest crime rate for
Right.
murder?
Right.
Who murder hundreds, millions of people, but they walking around free.
Right. Destroy cities.
Destroy cities, destroy nationalities, destroy cultures.
Yep, the biggest one in who? Esau.
Right. And but these are the individuals that setting the fashion or the standard on how you're supposed to look at things.
Right.
We menace to society. We super predators.
Right. Go to you there?
Yes, sir.
Read.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 4 and verse
23.
23. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, whereof Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen.
You see that? Our whole life we always wonder why these things happen to us. That's a curious, like, why do they hate us? If God love everybody, why we in these conditions? Because I go to church on
Right.
Sunday, it say God love everybody. But when I go to school Monday, I clearly see that everybody don't love everybody.
Right.
It's classism. That's what it is. And then you getting beat, you getting mistreated,
Harassed.
you getting harassed.
Right.
You look at your history from when you was on this side of Babylon. You see nothing but slavery, mistreatment, injustice, redlining, black codes, Jim Crow. You see all these things.
Right.
And you say, who do anybody in the world see this? What's going on? That's why I have no respect for no other nation. That's how you know Psalms 83 is real. Because if any nation feel that they are honorable, why they don't come and redeem the poor? Why they don't come and redeem those who've been unjustly mistreated?
Right.
And not justify and those who are doing it are not justified for the behavior in the chaos that they are causing. The other nations see that, but guess what? They in cahoots.
Right.
So read on. All these things is curious. Go ahead.
verse 23.
It say, I'm sorry, it say daily namely your prisons.
Yes, sir.
All these things, that's what you see on a daily. You see every day. He said just some of the things you can name: the mistreatment,
Right.
the ill behavior towards the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. You're reading about the Trail of Tears. You're reading about the concentration camps because they talking about concentration camps coming in the future. No, you got your brothers and sisters in concentration camps right now. So
That's right.
for you.
Right.
Bring it out.
Mhm.
What we talking
What you
about?
talking about? It's already here.
That's right.
Right.
Taking their babies away, putting leg monitors on them, daily, namely. These things are going on.
Right.
Your brothers in prison holes, snared there,
Right.
stuck there, and in a position they don't know what to do. You making them worse. Go ahead.
For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, whereof Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen. And for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly
You
nations.
see this, God, why you letting this go on? Because through your affliction you will seek me early. That's what's going on right here. And right now, Israel is asking the Most High, why you letting these heathens do us like this? And they don't even know you. That's when you go back to chapter 3, verse 36. They never kept your precepts. They don't know who you are. They are unholy people. They
That's
the
right,
heathens. They
right.
barbarians. They lawless. Why you give us into their hands? And then when we into their hands, they mistreat us. They abuse us. The
Right.
people of your love. That's what's going on right here. That's what Ezra is talking about. Go ahead.
Give thou whom thou hast given, whom thou hast loved, is given over to ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect.
Right, because even when these ungodly nations are the same reason Israel has been reproached, and Israel is saying, you know, they definitely will keep your laws,
Right.
Because you never chose them. Your covenant and your laws and your agreement is going to be a none effect. They're not going
Right.
to push your laws.
At all.
But what Israel's fair to realize is not for them to do that. It's for to be a reminder to you, to trouble you for a small season, that you can remember to keep the commandments. That's why they're there. They are there as the Most High whipping belt. to
right,
put you
right.
back in place.
Mhm.
They're not there to come here and keep the commandments.
At
That's
all.
right.
They're not here to come do that. They're here to afflict you, to
That's right.
show you that if you don't keep God's laws, what can happen to you.
Right.
That's why they're here.
That's it.
Go ahead and see. That's why Eric say I'm not giving my mind up to this curiosity. You know, I'm not basically he's saying I'm not trying to talk back to you, Lord. I'm not trying to just question what you have, your order of operation.
Right. Right.
I'm just saying it's just a spirit that comes on me that makes me curious to ask these questions that we all have. You know how your parents used to tell you don't question God,
Right.
but you say, "Boy, I'm getting shot down the street." Why he let an ungodly nation treat us like this?
Right.
And at least we, like how we say, we try to have some type of spirituality about us.
Right.
When you look at Esau, you see there's no spirituality about him.
None at all.
Exempt, zero,
Zilch.
depleted.
That's right.
So go on.
Verse 24, and we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy.
Right. You see that? Even when you are convicted in society and you do your crime, you pay your debt to society. And when you come out, you have no opportunities.
Right. Right.
You have no opportunity. You've been in prison, and these like what the captain is going into. You done served 5 years in this condition. That's why a lot of prisoners say jail is hell or it's next door to hell.
Right.
Because of the conditions.
Right.
Even they say, you know what, if I go back to jail, man, I'd rather kill myself.
And that's what a lot of them doing in Parchment Prison, killing themselves
They killing
because of the
themselves
condition.
because the situation that you obtain no mercy, they look at you as grasshoppers. You know how you step on a grasshopper? They don't mess up your life.
Right. Right. You
It
don't
was
care
just
about it.
that grasshopper was just in your way.
Pretty much.
You step on it and keep going. It shouldn't be here anyway. And that's what Ezra said. Our life are like grasshoppers with how we are dying. How there's no mercy on us. Either they putting you to death, they put you in death-like conditions. And that's what's going on. The prison
Right.
system, the convict leasing system.
That's on point. That's on point. So go to Habakkuk 2. Habakkuk 2 and verse 4. Because what Captain bring it out is very important, knowing who you're dealing with and the mindset of the nation of Esau. They have no compassion. They have no ethics. They have no conscience. All right?
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
It said his soul, which is lifted up in him, is not right in him. When you read verse 1, we're talking about Esau, all right? Chapter 1, I mean. So understanding his soul, his spirit, is not right in him. That's why he have no repentance. That's why he can't receive what you're going to receive if you repent, all right? He is put here, like Cap said, to punish you because you disobeyed your God. Not his God, but your God.
Death adder.
Yeah, that death adder, right.
You know what you're saying?
Nothing.
He's not meant to be compassionate.
He
He's
don't-
not meant to be merciful.
That's
He's
right.
not meant for that.
Right.
That's
The
right.
belt is not meant to hear your cries. It's there to cause your cries.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just like when you get whooped by your mama. You're like, mama, no. And you hollering and
Don't
everything
get
else.
mad at the belt.
She's still whooping you.
That's why when you talk to Esau about slavery, they were just like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Right.
Everything is equal. I wasn't there
That was so long ago.
so long ago. You know what I'm saying? They are meant to do that.
Right.
They are wired to do that because they are deaf adders.
Right.
That's right. Hey, real quick,
ahead.
because there's a precept on that. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse, let's just get to the point, verse 10. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10. Because here, the Most High is giving you the mindset of how these wicked ones think.
Right.
Right.
And the way that they think is how they've set up this prison system. Real quick, read that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let us oppress the poor and righteous. Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
So when you start at verse 1, it's talking about the ungodly. The ungodly goes into Esau and the other nations. So right here in verse 10, they're saying, what? Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Read.
Let us not spare the widow,
Notice it says they don't care to spare the widow. Read.
nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged.
They don't care about the young or your old. Read.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
Let their strength. Remember, their blessing was what? The edge of the sword. They're blessed in the art of war and conquering.
Right.
So that's what they use to go forth. That's why they have no care about you or your family or your children. Read.
Right.
For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
It says that which is feeble. The feeble is Israel. Without God's laws,
Right.
we are the feeble, and they don't care. They don't care. They said we're going to oppress. We're going to oppress your poor. We're going to oppress the wicked, and we're going to allow our strength to lead and guide our ways of how we want to live.
Right.
That's
And
right.
it was something else that y'all were bringing out when you were talking about us being hid in the prison systems, Captain. Also, this is the history. The way that they're being treated right now in these prisons, it's the same thing that they've done over and over with our forefathers. In the exact same state that you're talking about in Mississippi, that's where that Devil's Punch Bowl was.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
where they had a natural prison out of the land and killed 20,000 freed slaves
Right.
in a weekend.
And we go bring that out the history
Mhm.
on Parchment Prison because it was a plantation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the same cycle continues. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nothing changes. The same mindset they had with slavery, us on the cotton field working for nothing. The same system they have in the prison system.
Right.
It's the same thing. Nothing changed. It's just a coincidence or the irony that they purchased a plantation to put a prison on.
Right.
Right.
Hey, Cap. And I don't know if you have it in your class, but when you go into going into this prison system, Jake don't understand that the same way it's set up out here, white man on top, black and brown on the bottom, same way inside. It's run
Right,
by
right.
gangs. You go into a whole, like Captain Iramah say, you go into a whole new world.
Right.
And it's run by gangs. You don't really see it, but it is run by gangs. And that prison system is racist. The people that work there, they
Right.
are racist. They are racist. That
But-
prison system is set up for white folks to prosper within that prison, meaning the Aryan Nation and those white gangs and the black and Hispanic gangs. They just fighting for the middle grounds. Yeah.
Yep. What was it? Okay. So go to Habakkuk. I'm sorry. Micah 2,
Yes, sir.
2 and 11. So Mike. Mike. So you got to remember that, like we're talking about the mindset of Esau. He has no conscience. He has no ethics. Ethics goes into morals, principles that control or inhabits the actions or thoughts of an individual or a nation of who? Esau. So just synonyms of ethical: humane, proper, clean, just, right, fair, and they had Christian on that too. But that's what they push in America, right? Christians, in God we trust, right? They have no ethics. They don't fit up or line up to anything of this Bible. You understand? So this shows you, and like Cap was talking about this a while, or not too long ago, to where the things that's going on in this earth, everybody sees it. It's just nobody's saying anything. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's saying anything. You see that this going on in the prisons, but then nobody's saying anything. Nobody's bringing those things that they see to light because they know it's a backlash behind it. Just like Bishop class last night, all these things are set up. If you would do this, you can have this. You understand?
Nobody want to be the target of oppression.
At all. At all.
They were to sit back and watch it. They see what's going on. They say, you know what, man, if I say something, I don't want to get caught up in that whirlwind
Right.
for me or my people.
That's it.
So they'll just sit back and watch it and justify the wicked.
That's right. And not say anything. Read that,
How the hell can you have a United Nations and nobody bring that up?
because that's not on their agenda.
How can you have the United Nations and y'all talk about foreign policies and domestic policies? You know what I mean? Things that y'all have to talk about concerning the well-being of the people, like the bishop brought up last night, for as the Council of Relations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How can y'all talk about relations for as the international or domestic when y'all turning a blind eye to the elephant in the room?
Right.
That these people are being enslaved, that these people are being mistreated, that y'all doing everything under the sun. Y'all building y'all country up off the people unjustly. And y'all finna talk about foreign policies and things like that, what's going on in other countries.
Start at 1. 2 and 1.
This is the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand.
So you got to think about this precept. It's telling you that it's people in power that can make things happen, that can put a plan into execution, into to existence. This convict system, I'm butchering it, convict leasing system is set up by who? This man, Esau. Why? Because everything that he does is to what? Keep us destroyed, to keep us under subjection to him. No matter whatever crime that we did, it doesn't matter to him. He's still going to put you, like Cap said, into prisons with hard criminals and don't care about it at all. All right, when you come up for parole, because I know all of us have people in the prison system, and I mean I know my cousin got damn rejected. I don't know how, like at least 3 times, but they so far apart. You know what I'm saying? He served 25 years, you know, before he got out. So this system is not set up for us. It's supposed to be a place where you supposed to be going, quote unquote, to do what? Get rehabilitated.
Reformed.
Reform, right. How are you going to get reform in these conditions that we go continue to read about and watch on the screen? You messing now with your mental capacity.
Can we give an example? Just imagine you have a house, right? You have 3 children in there. You have 3 children. And when your child act up, you just throw them in a room.
Right.
You just throw them they all act up. You just throw them in a room for 10 days. Just throw them food and just, you know, and take everything out the room. And you just throw 1 plate of food in there and just don't do anything. And then after 10 days up, you say they should be reformed. No, they finna. I'm talking about 10 days. You just lock a dungeon. You don't hear their cries. They can, cause they used to it. They know they can fight. You're not gonna come in there and help. Right. You know, whatever. You just once you close that door, your only concern is don't go outside this door. Don't bring no problems on the other side of this door.
Right.
And only time you're gonna see this any light other than this room is when I open this little hole in the door and slide you your food. And I'm gonna leave you a bucket right there to where you can pee and defecate in.
Right. You forgot about.
That's you know what I mean. That's the conditions.
Yep,
that you don't take no showers. I give you 2 buckets, one to defecate in, one to put water in, and just wipe yourself off.
Right.
Them the conditions that they're in. And then when they come out their room, you're gonna say, have you learned your lesson? Now you understand to be productive in this household. You know how to act in school. No, that is not reformed. How they reform?
They didn't do anything to reform them.
You didn't do anything to reform them. You didn't sit down one at a time and bring them out the room and talk to them about the crime that they committed. Right. Why are they in these conditions? What about their upbringing? You know about broken homes. You know about single parent households.
Right.
You know about these things that's going to be devastating on a child growing up through his adolescent years. Because it's hard to figure out what telling the son why his father is not there and he's walking around feeling lack of love.
Right.
And only people that show him any attention are the wrong people. The drug dealers, the gangbangers, everybody who in criminal mischief. You know what you're doing. That's why they call it the projects.
Hey, Cap, they took a lot of those reforms out of the prisons. A lot of those, like the brothers was going in getting college degrees and going in and getting their GEDs and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff they took out of the prisons.
But Esau at the same time, they merciless. And they that death adder,
right.
And you have people on these boards, these secretaries of states, these elect officials. They have to represent their party in the constituents that represent them. and they bring these complaints to them, and they say, you know what? How can we compete with criminals who coming out of jail with a GED and some type of certificate or what you call it one of these license for the HVAC
Certifications.
Yeah, my
certification
cousin,
with
they got out.
journeyman's like something like So how can we compete with these individuals? They are criminals coming out of prison with GEDs and these certificates versus children that have never been to prison and they got these GEDs and they got these certifications and now they got to compete with prisoners. And
Right.
that's why a lot of applications, they first thing they attack and say, have you ever been convicted of a crime? That's how you separate them right there.
Right.
And they just can't walk in there with their licenses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I thought he supposed to be reformed. He wasn't reformed in the free world, but he was reformed in prison and got his GED and understand what life is about and how to be a productive citizen. But guess what? The citizens will complain and say, we don't want that because now we competing with criminals. We shouldn't have to compete with criminals. So it should be something on them applications to give us an advantage. So when we apply for a job. And that's where the rabbit holes run deep. We don't see these things. We don't think about that. Who's promoting this? Who's agitating this for these jobs and these companies to say, have you been convicted of a crime?
Just going back into what Bishop brought out last night. Everything gets set up, you know what I'm saying, to where they all saying and speaking
They
the
own
same
everything.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Right.
They own everything.
Right.
So again, to play ball, you gotta line up to their agenda.
Right.
Pretty much. So let's read a little bit about the history of Parchment Prison Plantation. Should be on the page, y'all.
Yeah, and I was also thinking too, Captain,
Yeah.
Karatazar, that they constantly set up different laws according to the crimes that we constantly do. Okay, well, we're gonna make it harsher on them because this is what they prevalent to.
The
they
New York
constantly-
Times.
They constantly change laws like that as well to imprison us.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got it right here. New York Times, Parchment's Plantation. All right, here we go. Worse than slavery, Parchment Farm and the ordeal of Jim Crow justice. Authors are not always well served by the publicity releases their publishers send out. The Free Press acclaims Worse Than Slavery as a... Okay, I'm trying to find the main part. Okay, here we go. Yet this book makes clear that Parchment in its heyday as a prison farm was not the worst part of this new slavery. Actually, it may have been one of the least of the evils that characterized Mississippi's racial injustice. Mr. Oshinsky portrays Mississippi as consistently the nation's most violent state from the 1830s to the 1930s. Its frontier status in the early years of the antebellum cotton boom produced an astonishing crop of murders, duels, cuttings, and gougings among white men. It also produced record crops of cotton grown by slaves working in a brutally repressive plantation system.
So you see, this is the system that was before the prison system. All right, keep going.
During Reconstruction, the Ku Klux Klan and local rifle clubs murdered hundreds of free slaves. Now, Republican voters, in the successful effort to make Mississippi safe for the Democratic Party, in the New South, Mississippi led the nation.
So this is just what Cap was talking about. These Democratic, Republicans, so on and so forth, they have to put forth their agenda.
That's right.
All right. And as you see, the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, the Ku Klux Klan and all these different organizations, per se, right? Hate groups,
Right.
they went forth and took the law into their own hands.
Militia groups,
Lynch
lynch mobs.
Lynch mob.
That's
right.
why. That's why a lot of times the lynch mobs they forced themselves into the prisons. You know
Right.
what I mean? And the prisoners like, hey, we gotta let them go because if we don't let them go, we gonna be attacked.
And that's
That's the people. They doing it for the people.
that's
The
crazy
people
as
want
hell,
that.
man. That's crazy. Right.
So it let you know that these are the people. It's not the elected officials. They
Right.
don't understand the people and they just making harsh laws.
Right.
No, the people are coming down. Why you think they starting to open a lot of cities and states right now? Because they starting to campaign. They say, hey, you violating our rights.
Right.
You violating our rights, our constitutional rights. The people are forcing their hands now
Right.
and protesting, saying, hey, I've had 2 bypasses.
Right,
Had a
right.
heart attack and a stroke. And I'm out here fighting coronavirus.
Right. Right.
And there ain't going to be nobody to take me for my constitutional rights now. You better do something fast.
It's not affecting us no more. They say it's hitting them Negroes and Hispanics.
Right. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I want to go drink me a beer down at Billy Bob's. Shoot, doggone it,
funny.
messing up my Saturday night.
Right. Pretty much. Keep reading.
In every imaginable kind of let me start. In the New South, Mississippi led the nation in every imaginable kind of mob atrocity.
So that's going back to what Garages I was talking about as well, right? The Devil's Punch Bowl.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That goes back into the history of what they did in the Devil's Punch Bowl back in the days when you had the freed slaves. It is the exact same thing. It was a concentration camp then. It's a plantation now. Now it's a prison system.
Right. That's it.
The true terrorists.
Keep reading.
Most lynchings, most multiple lynchings, most lynchings of women, most lynchings without an arrest, most lynchings of a victim.
They couldn't even get to
Right.
the judicial system, right? They couldn't have
Right.
their day in court, right?
Due process.
Right.
Due process. None of that.
He whistled at Susie Mae.
Right.
Hang
Get yeah, basically.
Most lynchings without an arrest, most lynchings of a victim in police custody, and
That's
most
what Captain
public
said. Most lynchings of victims in police custody.
right.
Go ahead.
And most public support for the process itself. Because I got a book that's called Without Sanctuary, where they used to have what they call picnics, and they go just pick one of us and just lynch us and have a great party and cut us up in pieces and burn us on
Dang.
the stake. Crazy. Nearly half.
This are people that we go to and run to for help.
Right.
Look for them to have some type of compassion and emotion and thought to say, this person is not being treated right. It's not in them.
Go to them lynchings, bro. Every lynching you see, they say he was accused. They didn't say he was found guilty.
Right.
They say he was accused of an accusation of a crime.
Right.
And guess what? And when you go to, if you can, just go to one of them lynching and see how the people are coming out in droves, far as the eyes can see.
Right.
You could tell that it wasn't just a politician. It wasn't just the police officers. It wasn't just them.
Right.
It was the people,
Yeah, regular folk.
the citizens. Just said we need to put them to death, and not only put them to death, we're gonna all come out and participate and point and laugh and smile. Our
Right.
children, because you trying to indoctrinate some of your children to never love them. This is what they worth right here, is to be hung on
That's it.
trees.
That's it.
That's how they train their children.
And that's how you know and understand, like, these people still here today.
Right.
They're
Look at them
kids that
pointing,
was
doing
in-
the same thing. Look at them pointing.
And they took these pictures for remembrance.
Right,
These
there you
was
go.
good things. This was good for them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
enjoyed that.
Remember, these used to be postcards.
Yep,
They would
yep,
send
sir.
one to
That's right.
another through
Pictures.
the mail.
I got the book
Yeah,
right here.
postcards, right.
Got the book right here.
Postcards.
All
yeah.
praises. All
On
praises.
postcards.
And the thing is, I mean that messed me up right there.
Can I read the scripture? This Esther, chapter 13, verse 4. Going into how this is a continual thing. Even back then in our history, how they, wrongfully accused us and try to set us up and imprison us and kill us. Watch this. Yes, sir. Esther 13 and 4.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 13 and verse 4. Declared unto us that in all nations, the world,
Nope.
there
Read
in
it
all
again.
nations, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world, there was scattered a certain malicious people.
You see that? You see that word that they use right there? Malicious people. How are we malicious when we just keeping God laws? They just say that's something that they put on you for the world to look at you like that.
Right.
Back then and
That's
now,
right.
they thugs. They ain't right. They criminals.
Super predators.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
They
that's
tag
right.
us with all those
just
things.
like they do.
Right.
They terrorists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They terrorists.
Right.
They have weapons of mass destructions. You know what I'm saying? And when
Right.
you got all the weapons of mass destruction,
Right.
and you utilize yours.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You use those.
Right.
Hint. Hashtag what Japan what you call them? What was that country?
Hiroshima.
Yeah, man,
Nagasaki.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
there you go.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it either. Finish it.
Them.
Right.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
Come on.
And continually despise the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
So when it comes to look at all the way from back then, even up until now, look what they did. Separations at the water fountain, separation
Right.
at school. But then we try to,
Crow, right.
want to mingle in with them. And guess what? They didn't want that to happen.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sit-ins
Of course.
And they continue to
and
set
all
up
that.
laws
Right.
to make us look like malicious people.
Right. You had sit-ins. You had the protests for us
Right.
going, like to be able to go to this college and
Right.
all these different things.
Right.
For us, we always fought
Right.
to be equal with these nations, this nation, Esau.
Even with wrongful imprisonments, you show, look, this person did the same thing, this crime over here, but you make it harder on us.
Right.
Another thing too, all them pictures, the malicious groups.
Right.
You know, part of the lynch mob.
Mhm.
Them were malicious groups.
Right.
You know, and I laugh too when you look at the funny side of it. All the pictures, even when they brought us on slave ships, you see Esau sitting on top of all the animals that they
Right.
done, the buffaloes they didn't
Right.
kill from
Right.
Gad,
All the skulls.
all the skulls and everything like that.
Right.
That's funny to them, but they don't understand this is evidence going to use up in the criminal court.
Right.
All these
With
selfies that
God
they
court.
took, in God's court. You know what I'm saying? Going to be brought up for evidence
Right.
to hold them in contempt. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's going to convict them
Right.
that they are the Satan that the Bible speaks of, the
Right.
devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right. Right.
Pride of his heart has deceived him.
Right, all your selfies that you took to send out as postcards, gonna turn it just how they do our people.
Is this
Talking about
not
all-
you?
Yeah, just like they do judo on Facebook and count all the money with the guns. Be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's gonna be held against you in court.
Exactly.
What's gonna make you smile? What made you smile? Gonna make you cry.
Is
That
this-
same thing gonna
Is
happen
this
to
not your
Esau.
forefathers? This not y'all was in the crowd right here?
Right.
Wasn't y'all standing right here in this while he's been hung on the tree? It's all against you.
And then the Most High gonna say, what do you think would be the proper punishment?
Judgment, right.
I think everybody in that picture, I want to wipe out his whole lineage. If you connect to me anyway,
That's right.
you're done.
That's right. Because that's what
Yeah.
they tried with this
Bye-bye.
example, Cap. That's what they tried to do. Esther had to pray for the whole nation not to be
Right.
destroyed.
Right.
Give
point.
us because that's true justice.
Right.
To where the victims
right.
can say what is the proper punishment for the crime that they committed,
Right.
And
Hey,
that's-
not the criminals.
Right.
Right. That's the thing as well. The Most High don't forget.
Right.
The Most High remember every atrocity and every evil work and everything that you've done to His people.
That's right.
You have to. The record. You got a long rap sheet that you got to account for.
Reach all the way to heaven
That's right.
Reach all the way to heaven.
for real and wrap around it.
Guilty by association. That's what
Right.
Captain Iramah bring it out. Guilty by association.
Right.
You conceded to them hanging this man on a tree, cutting him up and burning him in the fire. You guilty. You didn't stop him. You didn't think his life was worth nothing? Then guess what? Your life ain't worth nothing.
Right. They was showing up for public lynching like a football game.
Right.
Like a basketball game. Like WWF.
Right.
Monday Night Raw.
Right. With they bottle of white lightning.
Burn them alive. Right. Come on now.
Well, remember, I don't know if any of y'all remember, but they would put those advertisements in the newspapers
Yes, sir.
to advertise what we are getting ready to do to draw out a large crowd.
Damn.
to
So
be
they
able to
promoted
be.
it,
Yeah, they
basically.
were actually
That was their
promoted
marketing.
like
Hey,
that
we-
was their sporting event.
5 o'clock, we having a lynching.
Yeah.
All right, y'all
In
come
your
on
town.
out. All right.
Hey, real quick, I want to bring another precept
Go
up
ahead,
because
go ahead.
it goes into exactly what y'all are talking about. Real quick, go to Psalms 94. We're going to read 20 through 23 real quick. It is going exactly into what you're talking about as far as with these other nations, how they have gathered themselves together against the righteous and what they think or they do what they want to do to the point of where they frame it, like the scriptures say, they frame it mischief by law. Read that. Psalms 94 and 20.
The book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 20.
Read.
Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?
So like y'all was saying earlier, how they go through and they create their own laws. They set up their own system to come out and not only deceive,
Right.
but manipulate, to put themselves over the people. Like you were saying, like with the criminal justice system. Our people go in, we get reformed, we come out with our diplomas, we come out with our certifications. Well, guess what? We're better than them already. We can do whatever we put our minds to. They know that. So guess what? They have to create a system that gives themselves an advantage.
A system of chaos.
Yes, and
so
that's
you
what it's
living,
talking about.
You living in that chaos, you won't be able to come out with the mind to apply yourself to anything.
Exactly. So
You know what I'm saying?
that's where that mischief by law is being framed.
Right.
Okay, and then not only that, but if you ever notice, Esau constantly changes his laws to whatever it is that we are doing, that we're being successful in. They have to come in and put some type of stipulation in
To
it
combat.
to combat, can be combative behind it. Okay, continue reading verse 21.
Verse 21. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous.
Notice it says against the soul of the righteous. Like y'all brought out earlier, Israel, we're to the point of where we steady look for the other nations' help. We steady look for the love of the other nations. But the scriptures tell you here that the other nations gather themselves to go against us. Against us. Read.
They and condemn the innocent blood.
And they do what?
And condemn the innocent blood.
They condemn the innocent blood, like you said. You don't even get a just day in court.
That's right.
Here comes the lynch mob to come snatch you out because someone said. Look at what happened with Emmett Till.
Bring it out.
Emmett Till was crucified. Well, I ain't gonna say crucified, but was lynched, murdered, shot in the head, beat, robbed, genitals cut off, beat to where he was unrecognizable.
Right.
Exactly.
All because some Edomite woman lied.
Right. And to today,
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Bring it up
and
to
and
today.
on her deathbed, she
Right.
comes back and says, "Oh well, I lied about Emmett Till." So you were able to live out your whole life through the mischief and the law that you created, and have a good, long, prosperous life,
Right.
and then come back and say at the end of the, oh yeah, I lied about that,
Right.
and you put a young innocent man to death.
A kid.
Yes,
Right.
a kid.
She profited from that to go on and live her whole full 80-something years of life.
Became famous off of it, made
Right.
money behind
It's
it.
crazy, bro.
And that's crazy. A whole nation suffered mental. I can't even wrap my mind around the
Right.
words because, I mean, mental just distraught
Exactly.
behind all of that for years. For years. And now, I lied. But you know what I'm saying? You
Right.
cause a whole nation to suffer behind
Of course,
that.
Right.
of
Yeah.
course. Read verse 22 and 23.
Yes, sir.
Bring it home.
But the Lord is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge.
Verse 23.
And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity.
He shall bring upon them their own iniquity. Like you say, the day in God's court, where all those pictures, all those postcards,
Ooh-wee.
all of the angels that have recorded everything over the times of what you said and what you did comes back to haunt you.
That's right.
Read.
And shall cut them off in their own wickedness.
Shall
Yea.
cut them off in their own wickedness. The same thing that you used to devise to stop us, to persecute us, to keep us under thumb. The Most High says he's going to turn that same system on their heads. Read.
Yea, the Lord our God shall cut them off.
The Lord God of Israel is going to be the one that puts it into
That's
that and
right.
stop this. I just wanted to bring that point out, okay?
All praises. Hey, that's good news. That's something that's the gospel, right? That's what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? That's what we keeping these commandments for, to be able to see that day. Yeah, finish a little bit on the article.
Yes, sir.
You got something? Yeah, he got over here pissed off, y'all. You damn heathen. Started this culture. Culture.
Yes, sir. Understood. This culture of violence provided the setting for the most infamous form of criminal justice in American history, the convict leasing system that prevailed in most southern states for a generation or more after emancipation. Not surprisingly, Mississippi invented convict leasing. Under slavery, black criminals had been punished on the plantation. Virtually the only jail inmates were whites. The Civil War destroyed many jails and penitentiaries, while emancipation more than doubled the free population.
So did y'all see the switch up that happened? It said, read that part again. It said most that was in jail were whites. Right?
Yes, sir. Virtually the only jail inmates were whites. The Civil War destroyed many jails and penitentiaries, while emancipation more than doubled the free population. The crime wave and political violence that accompanied Reconstruction overwhelmed the few and inadequate jails. Cap, can I say something real quick on this?
Go ahead, bro. You should stop reading.
That
Say something.
crime, when you listen, it's a documentary called Slavery by Another Name. When they talk about the crime wave that followed emancipation,
right.
The crime wave was because they wouldn't give us no jobs.
Right.
You had to go right back to the plantation you worked on.
Pretty much.
And you were stealing food for your family.
Right.
That was the crime wave. Or they was setting up little laws like loitering, stuff like that. A lot of that came out of the slavery.
Right,
so
right.
they would lock you up, right, just for standing there and not having a job was a crime back then.
Most of all the job was owned by slave masters.
Exactly.
Right.
And they were still pissed off because Abraham Lincoln emancipated you.
Right.
Yeah.
And not understand, and what people fail to realize, they got a bailout.
Right.
Exactly.
For every slave that they released,
Right, they got
they got
paid.
compensated
They got
for
paid.
it.
Right,
And
right,
the
right.
slaves
Right.
didn't get nothing.
And they
Yes,
still
sir.
wasn't happy about
They
it.
still wasn't having. They
Right.
said, "You're not getting.
This ain't
we're not
enough."
helping
Yeah,
y'all."
yeah. This ain't enough.
Right. And that's why I was saying they made laws according to the things we were doing.
Right.
And they put it right around now. So y'all gonna be standing around? Okay, we're gonna make a law against that.
Right.
Like
Yes,
the native, like prohibition,
Right.
Right.
because not it's a crime for alcohol was
Right.
that's big business.
Right.
Why? Because a lot of the Gadites was getting drunk. Because they see they been terrorized, they've been tormented.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they whole beautiful land is being taken from them.
Right.
And you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
They used to sit back and relax and just do their thing on the beach side and just
Right.
sit, watch the waves and lay with their wives, make children. That was heaven for them. But now all of a sudden, all that is taken away, and now you see nothing but dirt
Right.
Right.
and responsibility and hard work and labor.
Right.
Right.
Man, and your culture is being raped from you,
Right.
And
and your kids been taken to border schools
right.
and been indoctrinated. You,
All right, there you go.
you know what I'm saying? Been
Right.
indoctrinated. At first,
Right.
they was Gadite pride.
Right. Right.
Now they
Had
hate themselves.
had their own language, their own cooking.
Right.
They had their own culture.
Right.
And they just came.
They had their own headdress.
Right.
You know what I mean? Royal headdress.
Right.
Now they taking it off. Now he got his hair combed to the side
Right.
with jail on it.
Your culture.
With American flag on his shirt.
With
Right.
some,
All
some
the things that
pomade.
they did, the inventions, all of this, they take it all. You know, the lottery, marijuana, they taking and making it good for them to profit off of, just like they did the slaves. Whatever the slave come up with,
Right.
they take it for themselves as well, and
Right.
make a law to where you can't, have nothing to do with this. This is
got
all
patents on this and
Right,
forever.
right.
What the hell?
That's right.
I own you and you come up with an idea. That means it's mine.
right,
Right.
If I own
Pretty
you
much.
and you come up with an idea, that
right,
Right.
right.
it's my idea.
But I don't know
You
how
have
to
no
work
right.
it. I don't know how to do nothing about it. But I'm gonna still take the credit for it and still
Right.
get the the glamour for it.
Right. Yes, sir. In
Yeah, go
desperation, Mississippi and other states turned to an expedient that quickly became an institution: the leasing of convicted criminals to private contractors who paid a fee to the state and agreed to feed, clothe, and shelter the convicts during their term of punishment. But the motives of lessees were most emphatically not altruistic. They were in this business for profit. They use convicts to build railroads, to mine coal and iron.
It say they were in this business for profit.
That's right.
That's it. This whole system is set up for profit. That's why you got a lot of
Bring it up.
what's it called? The independent, privately owned prisons throughout the whole U.S. All right,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead. Michael Jordan. Damn. Yeah. Go ahead.
They use convicts to build railroads, to mine coal and iron, and to fell timber, make turpentine, clear land, and grow cotton.
This is called slavery.
All over again.
This is called free labor that we profit off of.
And that's do you have the definition of convict leasing system? Can somebody put the definition of convict leasing system to show you that? Because Jake, you know what I mean, they'll kind of get misconstrued when you read all that and thinking that, you know, it's just something that wordplay and not understanding that it's really a term called convict leasing system.
Right.
It ain't nothing that this. Okay. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something too. The slave was more profitable to the private prisoners system more than slavery. That right there, that one right there. Read that. Yeah. Read it,
Yeah, I can get it right here. All right, convict leasing system. This is on Google. Yeah, I can see it.
Blow it up a little bit. There you go.
Okay, now it's a little too big. Slide it over to the left a little. There you go.
just
Right there. Right there. Convict leasing system was a system of penal labor practiced in the southern United States and overwhelmingly targeting African American men. Convict leasing provided prisoner labor to private parties such as plantation owners and corporations.
You see that?
An example, the Tennessee Coal and Iron Company.
You see that?
That's
When
right.
our foremothers, the daughters of our people, that was like they was dying on these mines and these railroads before they even got their minstrels. They was dying because guess what? When you had a slave, now you got to go back to Willie Lynch. He was telling you how to try to treat your slave. Don't abuse your product. That's what he was saying, because they're going to keep running away. So he was teaching the slave how to be delicate to their slaves, not delicate to where he's loving them and caring for them. No, he still punished them and mistreat them. But he was telling them, but you be too cruel to them. At least manipulate them that you like them. You know what I'm saying? At least manipulate them. Make them feel that you love them, that you're there for them. And that's what the whole Willie Lynch thing was about, to where you can enslave them forever. But when the criminal justice system came, the convict leasing system was implied. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to like them. You just keep getting prisoners. Just get them and kill them and get them more and kill them, and it's just a whole cycle.
Mm-hmm. What it is, they became a commodity cap.
Right.
Because
Right.
here it is, with slaves, you had to maintain some sort of housing, some sort of shelter, some type of subsistence and food. But with this convict leasing system, your slave is now nothing more than a commodity,
Right.
like a part, like a bad part in a motor.
Right.
If that part breaks, you just simply replace it.
Right.
Leasing them, that gives them that loses the responsibility of that company to have to take care of providing shelter or some type of clothing or substance. No, I'm just leasing you for your work.
Right. But the convict, I don't know if it's another one. They did say it was one that say that like they no. Because they said that they took care of them for us. I think that's the I forgot.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at another one right now.
It say for their housing and food, and
Yes, sir.
that's what I'm talking about. Read that one.
The leasee was responsible for feeding, clothing, and housing prisoners.
You see, that's it. That's jail. They give you the lease. They don't give you no good food. You know what I'm saying? They give you clothes that just your little daughter can make. You know what I mean? 3-year-old little daughter can make. They give them that, and they give them somewhere to stay, and they just say, "Hey, come in and go. Come in and go. Come in and go." Like, it's so many sickness in there. So many diseases in prison. But just going back to where we coming from, the convict leasing system, our people was dying, and it was big business for Esau. It was big business. They was making more money. At first, they were looking, it was frowned upon. And then after a year, they made so much money, they said, we have to implement this thing. And then what Esau started doing? He said, we're going to start to incarcerate a juvenile department.
Mm-hmm.
They start the juvenile detention centers.
Right.
So they had our children out there picking cotton, working on mines, working at railroads, picking tobacco, doing everything
Right.
to make America great. On the back of our not the back of our forefathers. Let's say it like this: on the back of our children.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Hey, Cap, they go back to the African American burial ground below in New York, where they said they found children as small as 7 years old, they shoulders out of socket because they had worked so bad. They muscles and stuff, they could tell that they was not really fully developed. Some of the muscles torn from the bone, stuff like that, because they was working them sun up to sundown.
I was a liar. You know how hard you have to work your daughter, and she die before she get her menstrual. How
Yes.
hard she had to work day and night.
That's beyond a sweatshop.
They said majority of our daughters was dying from being worked so hard, exhausted
Yes, sir.
from working hard, and they died before they menstruals. You don't know how you can't even process the hard labor that's put on our little daughters. And guess what? When some of our daughters get their menstruals? At 12.
Right.
So you telling me they were working them way harder than that before they was even 12 years old?
It's crazy, man. Go to
Want to
Isaiah
finish?
42 and 22.
Yes, sir. Did you want any more of this, Cap?
Nah, you good. I think they got the point.
Isaiah 42:22.
Yes, sir. Because this system is set up as that rotation like Cap was just talking about. In, out, in, out. One come in, one go out. By death, by lack of proper housing in prison, the food, the running water, a toilet that can flush. Like, these are bare necessities, the chief things in life. You know what I'm saying?
Medicine.
Like to be able to, today you sit down and flush it to the toilet.
Right.
To push the button, because you'll see on there, you push the button so the water can come out. You can brush your teeth.
So it's a possibility that Esau made prison our culture.
Wow.
The while we going in prison and thinking it's cool. So y'all made prison our culture.
You coming out you coming out bragging
Right.
how much time you did in prison.
Right.
What the hell?
That's I'm
Get a
talking
party
about.
throw for you.
Right.
The thing that get me about our people, they brag about prison, but when they go to prison, they cry to get out.
Right.
They saying nobody's not looking out for me.
Right.
Why you not holding me down? Help me get out of here.
Right.
But when you get out, you do everything to get you back in there,
Right.
and you brag about it.
Mm-hmm.
You brag about it when you free, and you cry about it when you're incarcerated.
Right.
I don't get it. It has to be a big agenda going on.
Right.
Half of that is because Israel doesn't know how to take care of themselves. And I have from experience from my first marriage, my wife's uncle, he was convicted. And he told me straight up, when they would release him, he didn't have an education. He's already in the system with felonies, so he can't get a job. So what he would do is he would go, once they let him out, he would go come see the family, and then he will go and commit some other crime so he could go back in, simply so that he could be taken care of with
Right,
the
right.
basic, so-called the basic necessities.
Right.
You know, I got a roof over my head. Now, mind you, I got to fight for my booty hole, but I got a roof over my head.
But it goes back to where the whole reform policies
Exactly.
that they falsely claim that
Right.
the inmates have, they don't have. So he know if he got 2 felonies and he at a certain age, pretty much his life is done
It's
for him.
done.
Pretty much.
Yes,
You know what I'm
done.
saying?
But
But
he got to
if-
go back to what he know.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Basically,
saying.
well,
That's
be taken care
that's
of.
what he was brought up in. That's what he knows. So once he's departed from that, he knows nothing else on the outside of those walls.
Right.
He's not used to life outside of the box.
Right.
Right? Did you know, like, if you have a felony, you know certain apartments you can't even stay at.
Of course.
You can have $1 million. There was an NBA player got convicted of a felony for accidentally shooting his driver. negligent homicide that he had. That means it was an accident. It wasn't purposely done.
Right.
Negligent just like a doctor give you the wrong medicine, you die. That's called negligent homicide. And it's a possibility he can lose his license, even though it's an accident. That's what negligence means. It's an accident, not purposely done. So this NBA player accidentally killed his driver, Jason Williams. Accidentally killed his limo driver, and he got charged with manslaughter, negligent homicide. And when he was released, he did like 2 or 3 years in prison, and got out, have millions in the bank. No apartment will allow a felony to be a resident in their apartment complex. He couldn't even buy a house. They didn't want you in the neighborhood.
Wow. That's why a lot of them apartments too, like, you know, we know how Jake do it. The girl, she have to get it put in her name, basically.
Right. And that's just showing you, if you leave out of prison and say you're supposed to be reformed, if you can't be reformed as a millionaire,
Sure thing. Right.
imagine how much more for a person, a young man being raised up on Section Air with no education.
Right. Pretty much. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore.
This is the system that they want to continue to keep going. This is profiting them, as we just read. It said, a people robbed and spoiled from what? Our nationality, from who we are, from knowing that we're the greatest people on this earth. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep us in the prison houses. They want to keep us snared in the holes of the drugs, the all these different types of forms of so-called making money. You know what I'm saying? Via codeine, heroin, all these different forms of drugs that our people get into because they see, or think rather, that it's a way of them to survive. And then, as we said, they go to jail and they brag about this, that, and the third. They come out, and then they have no point of direction, rather, to go, because they haven't been reformed. All they know is what they know when they went in there. That's what they know when they go out. All right. And some of the prisons, like Cap said, some of them still do. Some of them still have some type of reform in there. Some. But we read about Parchment prison that has none of that. All right. So, you got something?
Prison they can probably have a little program. What they still have those. I know a lot of brothers who got out of prison. They have a degree.
Right.
It ain't about what. It's a different world in there. Sometimes it's like busy work to keep you occupied, to keep you from in violence, and because like once again, some of it's private owned, so they don't, because if you bring it's like marketing or business. They don't want nobody to look down on their business, because the more people look at their business in a negative way, the less they're gonna take them there.
Right. Yes,
so it's the same thing with a private owned prison. He don't want people. He don't want the government. He don't want no attention to be brought on his facility.
Right.
To where the government gonna start to exempt you, start to implement more rules, more laws, more regulations. So therefore, he want to kind of run a tight shift. So some of them do have programs, but what about when the prisoner is released? None of that matters no more. It's like a false sense of hope. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, you can have certain prisons that have certain programs to help rehabilitate the prisoners, but you coming out to the same systemic oppression, the same system that's set up and saying, we don't want nothing to deal with you. You're a criminal. I mean, you better understand these so-called Edomites that you say that's understanding that have black friends. These are the most diabolical, grudge-holding, unforgiving individuals on the face of God's green earth.
So they might have some ways, good programs that help reform you, but because of who you are, what nationality you are, it won't help you when you get out.
Good toys, bad playground.
Yes, sir. Because I was reading looking at an article where it said that under Clinton, Joe Biden put a lot of stuff in place that, just skimmed through it, that pretty much took away some of the programs. But they're starting to bring those programs back. Some of them. Like you said, there's some programs that they have that they're bringing back, and then some of them like was watching a special that they did on Angola a while back. The brother that's like real popular on NBC, he did a special on Angola, and they have certain things that are set up. Certain non-profit organizations set up things to help prisoners when they get out to get a job, you know, what they call it.
Second chance.
Yeah, second chances to get a job, to rehabilitate back into society.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And then they got the ones as well, like that been wrongly convicted. These
Right.
dudes get like nothing. Like I'm saying, like they found out they wrongly convicted via the new DNA, so on and so forth, because they had the technology, as they say back then. But they getting out, did 25 years, getting $200,000 or something. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
people get out of prison in debt. They have to reimburse.
Yeah.
They have to reimburse. They in
That's
debt
true.
to society for us when they get out.
Right. Yeah, based off the crimes or whatever they did.
Right.
Yeah. Go to Lamentations 5 and 5. Because they want to keep us in the prison system because it's free labor. You know what I'm saying? They just want us to work. Keep us preoccupied, like Cap said. Not on finding out who we are. Yes, sir.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 5 and verse 5. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
Say our neck are under persecution. In the prison system, it's nothing but persecution. Out here in the free world, it ain't no better. We under persecution. You know what I'm saying? You walking down the street, the police can. He's what's it called? Judge, jury, and executioner, right there on the spot. Hey, come here. Let me talk to you. I was watching the cops or whatever video, on cops on TV, and the dude got pulled over. Yeah, your tent was too dark. Why you pulled me over? Your tent was too dark. Where you coming from? From here. Why you looking at the license? Why you went all the way? Why you over here going to this store? My family stay in this neighborhood. I'm over here visiting my family, and I went to this. It's like it pisses me off, man.
Jake been destroyed for so long. He don't know what's right or wrong anymore. You don't understand that if a person if a police stop you and say, "Where are you going?" that is a violation to your rights. That's why Esau get. That's why Esau get livid when the police pull him over and don't have a proper reason on why he pulled them over, or even start off with why you pulled them over.
Right.
Because they understand their rights. They wasn't been beaten down and grinded down to dust like us. So therefore, we already automatically feel that we have to explain ourselves.
Right.
What did I do wrong? How do I explain myself? No, a person who's violating your rights should have to explain himself on why he pulling you over. But we've been destroyed for so long, we don't know what's right or wrong anymore.
That's it. So it says, our neck are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Because this whole system is set up for us to what? Continue to make the money. We have no rest. This whole cycle is set up is to help continue to make America great. You know what I'm saying? Work. That's it. Won't have no time for nothing else. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump to Jay-Z and Yo Gotti article. So pull that one up. Read that. So these two men are trying to basically shine a light on Mississippi and the ill treatment, the harsh conditions, anything you could think of that's negative, it pertains to these prisons. All right. You got it? Yes, sir. Read that.
Jay-Z, Yo Gotti helped 150 inmates at Mississippi prisons sue over barbaric conditions. Inmates.
Wait, stop there. You telling me that you have government officials that's supposed to be over this, internal affairs. They supposed to be over stuff like this.
Yes, sir.
And be mindful and be on the lookout for harsh and barbaric conditions. And they was not able to see this. It took two ex-drug dealers to come and put their money together.
Right.
And to expose
Yes,
this
sir.
and to make something happen.
Yes, sir. That's what they call Jay-Z. He was just a drug dealer.
These drug dealers, they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Hey, Cap, but these prisons have gotten violations. You know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying. Health inspectors have went in and saw that the toilets was improper working and the beds and the this, that, and the third, but they haven't been shut down. Nothing has happened.
Been
right.
done about it.
Basically, you know. Go ahead, officer.
Inmates at the Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman live a miserable and hopeless existence, confronted daily by imminent risk of substantial harm, the suit said.
You remember what Ezra said? He said, namely, a daily namelet. There you go, daily.
That's right.
Right.
Inmates at the Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman say chronic staff shortages and rampant violence have led some prisoners to insert their own catheters, treat their own stab wounds, and suffer through seizures without medication.
So they don't have a triage or a hospital in there where they treat because they're supposed to have it, right?
Yes, sir.
They're
supposed
supposed to
to have that.
like they're supposed to have all these things set up because they know what's gonna go on in there. They know
Yes,
it's
sir.
gonna be the gangs that you stated. Somebody gonna be stabbing somebody with a
Yes, sir.
shank or something, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Fights and so on and so forth. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
or that person that's locked up, like Cap said, in solitary confinement, and then went crazy, and then about to kill himself in there.
Medication.
Right.
Yes, sir.
They had a dude in solitude confinement for like 3 or 4 years, bro. Some of them longer, bro.
Remember the young brother
Some of
that
them longer,
killed
bro.
himself, Cap?
Yeah,
The
some of
young
them
brother
longer.
just killed himself.
Right, and some of the CEOs do some of the most horrific things there is
Right. Yes,
to
sir.
them inmates, and it just some of them the government probably say they understaffed. So for the health care, we understaffed. We don't have any funding for it. But guess what? You just did a bailout. That shows you that America already had the money. They just decide what they want to do with it,
Right. How they want
to allocate it.
Right.
That's
it.
And to keep these small business and these business companies at bay, to keep them to calm down, to say, you know what, we're gonna take care of you guys. We're gonna give you a business $10,000 with something you probably didn't make in 2 weeks of your business being shut down.
Right.
But that's why, because it's not just because you Negroes, our people, thinking that Esau love you and that's why he gave you a stimulus check. No, it was a big agenda to that, to keep these small business and these other business, to keep them quiet, to keep them at bay.
And in many instances, there is only one guard for every 160 inmates, according to a lawsuit filed Wednesday in U.S. District Court in Greenville, Mississippi. The suit is the second filed in as many months with the help of rappers Jay-Z, real name Sean Carter, and Yo Gotti, real name Mario Mims, who have been protesting the inhumane and dangerous conditions of confinement in prisons. The pair on Thursday also released an open letter to Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, calling for him to shut down the facility, which they write has become a shameful symbol of society's moral decay. The complaint was filed on behalf of 152 inmates who say that they are under constant peril at Parchman and that the environment is so barbaric, the deprivation of health and mental health care so extreme, and the defects in security so severe that the people confined at Parchman live a miserable and hopeless existence, confronted daily by imminent risk of substantial harm in violation of their rights under the U.S. Constitution. Parchman, the only maximum security prison for men in the state, has more than 3,500 inmate beds and has grappled with a history of inmate abuses, corruption, and racial segregation.
See that? That's that racial segregation
Yes, sir.
that you talked about.
Yes,
you know
sir.
What I'm saying? The whites with the whites, the black
Right.
with the blacks, the gangs, so on and so forth. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Go ahead.
That's how it is. Even if a lot of people in prison know this.
Right.
Even if you had a white friend, y'all was friends in the world, so-called African American and a white guy, if they was friends in what they call the free world, they went to school together, they did everything together. Certain prisons, when he go in there, he have to join with the whites. Y'all no longer friends there
Right.
because it's prison politics. It's a whole. That's what we're saying. It's a whole different world with a whole different set of rules that's contrary to the rules that's out here. That's why a lot of times you have Southern Kingdom hate Northern Kingdom. A lot of this stems from prison.
Right.
A lot of it stems from prison because you are being trained and programmed a way to think that you don't know how to offset it when you are so-called liberated.
That's right.
Or freed. You don't know how to offset it. So what the captain is saying, when you have a white Edomite friend, when y'all go to jail together, he have to join the Aryan Brotherhood.
Right.
He have to join these people, and you have to join your people. Maybe the Crips, the Bloods, whoever it may be, the Muslims, the 5%ers. All these type of individuals you have to join. It's okay. Some of them you can't have white people cutting your hair. That's what we don't understand the rules that goes along in prison. You can't even go ask a white guy, say, do you have an extra cup of coffee, a pack of tea? You can't do them things. We don't understand, and Esau knows that. We don't know what's going. We don't even take time to look into it or what they are doing in there.
Hey, real quick, Cap. We had a comment that just got brought in that just kind of got noted here. This is from Chris Davis. And Chris Davis states, he says, the unit I'm in, there are no programs. We sit on the zone all day. It's like they want us to suffer. 108 people on the zone racks, barely 3 feet apart. No AC, evil eye against one another. Shaking my head. I'm not saying we should be treated like royalty, family, but it's really rough. It's nasty, mold infested, etc. The only thing I'm happy for is the Most High waking me up in here last year.
All praises.
He's there now.
So apparently he's there now.
We just got a comment from a brother that's incarcerated right now watching our live. You see that? Y'all can think it's a game. Y'all can think the Bible is a joke or a fairy tale.
Right.
We are. That's why IUIC, man, we here to change lives.
That's right.
Right.
If you don't hear, you don't understand, it's not for you. It's for our brother right there.
Pretty much.
To stay in the spirit, keep your faith, bruh. Do what you got to do. Teach our people who you can teach, and Most High gonna be with you, bruh.
That's right.
And when you get home, hey, come. You know what you got to do. Just like the bishop always say, bruh, study, pray, and apply. And what you can do, we here for you, bruh. We're gonna send up prayers for you. And that's what we doing right now is shining a light on these systems, this systemic oppression, these walls of death, the walls of hell. That guess what? A lot of our people forgot. We so busy chasing the fantasy world, the American dream, that you forgot the atrocities that's put in place to destroy your people.
Right.
That because I barely made it out, I'm good now. And guess what? It's all up. It's all Lucky Charms from here on out.
It's all an illusion. Like you fighting for something that when you get all this money, this, that, and the third, it's not gonna make you feel better. It's not gonna take away the fact that what we showing you on the screen, that your brothers and sisters that were lynched, that they're in prison today, suffering harsh punishment and living roasted, infested rats, this, that, and the third, not living in suitable conditions. It's not gonna change anything. Real life still goes on. You just living in a fairy tale world.
Can I pull a precept real quick, just to touch on what the brothers is going into? 23, Deuteronomy 23:7. We get this precept pulled on us a lot. We're gonna show you how the Most High told us to conduct ourselves when we had rulership. 23:7.
Yes, sir. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
Go ahead.
The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
You see that? I just want to bring this precept out because this precept is often used against us. Through Edomites, through our own people,
Yeah.
those in different countries, communities,
Yeah.
they would say, "Don't up." That'll be their precept of contention. That'll be their precept to say you shouldn't abhor a Edomite, which are so-called white men. They say you shouldn't do that. How are we abhorring a Edomite by saying all the wrongs and atrocities that you've done to our people? How can you say we're abhorring him? We just telling him what he have done, and it's a judgment for that. We ain't putting no Edomites in prison yet.
Right.
We ain't enslaved no Edomites yet.
Right.
We ain't cut no Edomites head off yet.
Right.
We're not telling our people to go kill no Edomites yet.
Right.
I was just joking. I was just joking. So we haven't done that yet.
Future
Oh,
tense. Future
only
tense.
thing we are saying for all the wrong that you done to our people,
Right.
there is a judgment from the Most High God.
That's right.
Even if I keep my mouth closed,
Right.
the judgment is still going to come to you.
That's right.
I have no power over that. But my point is saying this. You will say don't abhor a Edomite or hate a Edomite by saying, why you showing hatred to my people? But you would never say, tell an Edomite, don't abhor the Israelites, which they do every day in their kingdom.
Right.
This is what they was talking about. When we got our kingdom, when it was our time to rule, it said, don't abhor a Edomite. What do it mean by that? They have to submit to God's law. They have to submit to our rules. They couldn't, after the third or fourth generation, then they was able to, to where they shown they've been approved, that they willing to be obedient,
Right.
submissive to us. That look at us as God chosen people, and we are the Israelites, and we are the governors of the world.
Right.
That's what they had to submit to. No different from the woman that Christ called a dog.
Right. Right. Right.
The only way he healed her daughter is because she humbled herself to him.
Right.
She knew her position.
Right.
She knew she was a dog. She knew she was beneath the Israelites. No Edomite is telling you that. No Edomite is telling you that right there.
Right.
That's right.
They saying we equal, and when they say we're equal, that means we're above you
Right.
Basically.
in their eyes.
Right.
So this is what the Bible is talking about when it say don't abhor a Edomite. They have to completely, undisputed, bow down to you and say you are the kings and you are the kings and priests of God's green earth. For to the third and fourth generation, you understand? That's what it said right here. To the third generation. One generation come, boom, die. Another generation come, boom, die. Another generation, boom, die. Now we take what you're saying in consideration.
Right.
Not just say, I apologize for slavery and I have good black friends, and then everything is wiped away. No.
Right. Peachy keen. Everything.
No.
Peachy keen. No.
That's not what it's saying. So now when y'all pull this precept on us, that's what it's talking about, our kingdom.
Right.
Right.
Rulership. Right.
When our rulership, when we had dominion over everything, don't abhor a Edomite. So
out.
now we in Esau kingdom. Before you pull this precept on us, pull it on them and tell them don't abhor the Israelites.
That's right. That's it. The roles reverse. You know what I'm saying? We did it in our time. They need to do it in their time of reign.
Hey, Cap, the judgment's already been passed.
Oh yeah.
They had their time to make amends, and they decided not to. They're the ones that decided to cut ties from the brotherly covenant.
Right. Right. Right.
They're the ones that did that. So
Right.
guess what? The Most High seen it, and the Most High's already passed judgment on it. So all we're doing is maintaining what the scripture
That's
says.
it.
It shall come to
Right.
pass. That
Bible
prophecy,
prophecy.
yes,
That's
right.
it.
That
Right.
prophecy shall come to pass.
That's right. Go ahead and read more of the.
Yes,
article.
sir.
I'm gonna play a little clip of the video.
Yes, sir. An inmate named Thomas Lee, 49, was so in need of mental health care that before he took his own life in January, his last words were reported to have been, "I'm tired of this They don't care about me or my food. I'm about to kill myself." Inmates also describe rat feces, cockroaches, and bird droppings contaminating their meals, as well as toilets and showers in a perpetual state of systemic failure.
So who can live like that? That's why that brother killed himself. Like it you just think about it. You living in that, everything that was just described to you, and you don't have no type of help or hope, like we read in Isaiah 42. No rest. You hopeless. I can't. My family, they can't do nothing. The lawyers, the system is not fighting for me. I might well just kill myself. You have nothing left.
Like, pretty much
That's
felt
the
like,
mindset.
Felt like he was on his own.
That's it.
You know,
Nobody can save
And
me.
then
Why?
you have a lot of prisoners or inmates. When you in that, that's why it's a lot of times they don't like to show weakness, because a lot of prisoners will exploit you for that.
Right.
Some inmates have to pay for their own room. They have to pay other inmates to be in a cell with him. Your family have to send you money and you pay him. It's that deep in prison.
Damn.
It's a dog eat dog world,
Right.
especially when you're in this condition. You know, starvation is one of the worst deaths. So nobody ain't finna be dying of starvation. You know what I mean? And
Even
why?
if it got rat poop in it.
Even if they'll
bird
eat it, you know what I'm saying? They will eat it. But I'm just showing you to where your own people will inflict pain on you.
Right.
Your own people will beat you up because misery.
It go back to the conditions you in. Like you said, they pit you against each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, you fighting your brother, you killing your brother, and you got your brother paying for money to you to stay in the cell. That's crazy as hell.
Commissary and all that type of
Right,
stuff.
right,
You know what I'm saying? You gotta wash his drawers. You gotta do everything because it's the hopeless trying to find something that can give him some type of hope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To give, even if I gotta use my strength and my power
Right.
to beat somebody else up to make me feel like I'm something.
Right.
To have somebody to depend on me. You know what I mean? To where to make me to help me have some type of independence. To where you gonna wash my drawers. To give me some type of authority.
Right,
You know what I'm
basically.
saying? You're gonna wash my drawers.
Right.
You're gonna sweep the cell.
Right.
Right.
You're gonna keep the cell clean. That's what you're gonna treat them like your wife down there. You know what I'm saying? A woman.
You gonna clean that
You
toilet.
gonna clean the drawers. You gonna go get my food. I'm gonna have you
Right.
stealing for me. All these type of things to where a person that's in there for a couple of years on a non-violent crime,
Right.
now he's subject to that to where it's gonna turn him into a killer.
Right. And turn him into somebody's, I don't know what the words, corrected words to say.
It's it's some words that they used
okay,
to say,
sexual toy. Okay,
like
yeah,
you
that's
would be
good.
somebody's B word or
Yeah.
somebody's punk, the P word. Punk.
All that. Y'all
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
we're talking
yeah.
about. The point is like the young brother that went to the Rikers Island, and I know he touched on this before.
Right.
I think Deacon did, but like it's the whole mindset. That child, because he went there as a child, he came out, I think still a child, but a little older.
Khalif
But he
Browder.
was, what was his name?
Khalif Browder.
Khalif
Browder.
Browder. This young man was destroyed. His mental
Yes, sir.
mindset was destroyed because the trauma that he went through in jail. You know what I'm saying? So what they going through in Parchment is happening throughout all the earth of America, because America has I'm butchered, but like the number one in prisons.
Yes,
I'll say
sir.
that, throughout the earth.
Yes,
all
sir.
right? Incarcerations. Right.
What
Mainly
per-
of us, black and brown.
Well, they've turned
Go
the prison section into a hot commodity. You know,
Right,
you can
right, right.
actually invest in stocks in prisons now.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what he
yeah,
said,
like
Michael
Michael
Jordan,
Jordan.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To the point of where what you are benefiting on the backs of your own people being put
Right.
into these conditions as slavery.
Right. Let's read some more of the article. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, we cut no time.
The guards, the inmates allege, have played an active role in the deteriorating conditions, failed to act out of fear for their own safety, and looked the other way amid the violence. Plaintiffs have resorted to tying their cell doors closed at night to prevent guards from allowing other inmates to enter and assault them, the suit says. Since December 29th, at least 18 people have died in Mississippi state prisons, some as the result of gang-related rioting and suicide. Officials said Mississippi has one of the highest incarceration rates in the United States.
So go to Deuteronomy 28:65, because the mindset that our brothers are in is fear, right?
The book of
It's part
Deuteronomy,
of the curses. That's what's going on right now as well. Go ahead.
chapter 28 and verse 65. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
So
But
from plantations to prison houses, no rest. All right, we've been abused, and continually abused. Go ahead.
But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee.
That's
and,
why our brothers today. I'm sorry, you finished that?
and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
The scriptures letting us know that our hope and hopelessness will hang in the balance of looking for some outside person or being or whatever to help us. We looking for that, but our eyes have failed with that help. And it says the sorrow of mind. What's going on with the sorrow of mind is the condition that they're living in has put them in a position to where they have no hope. They don't see a brighter future. They don't see a exit out of this thing, basically.
Some of them feel like when they in there, you can have 5 years, and they say they feel like they never gonna get out.
Right.
They feel like they never gonna get out.
And they
They
might
never gonna see
not.
daylight again.
Because in a lot of cases, they go to jail and they don't even go through the process of jail. I mean, the process of the court system. They're just in jail. Just detained, right. Haven't saw a court date, a judge, or nobody.
That's
But
what
you
happened
detained.
with Khalif Browder, Cap.
Huh?
That's what happened with Khalif Browder. He went through the system.
Right.
He never really received any kind of
Right.
court issues, and I think they let him out. And the brother was never the same. His
Right.
mind was
Yeah,
jacked
he was
up.
gone.
Because you forced to see things that's unhuman, bro.
Right.
Right. He
You
had to
you
fight
have
for
to
his life.
learn. You have to go to come out of prison. You have to go insane to be sane.
Right.
You have to
Pretty
go.
much.
That don't even make sense. You have to go insane to be sane.
Right.
You have to see another man getting raped and look straight forth and act like you don't see anything. You gotta see. You see another man getting stabbed up. You gotta walk and act like nothing happened. You gotta see these things and act like nothing never happened.
Right.
Like you used to it. No, man.
That's not normal. That's not normal.
Right.
Normal life.
And guards don't do nothing. The COs
Nothing.
don't do nothing. They just
Nothing.
watch. A lot of them are scared themselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they a lot of COs is either some of them scared they don't want to do anything, and some of them they come there looking forward to do something
Right.
because they are misfits in life.
Right.
They probably feel like their wife is cheating on them. The world don't accept them. They come there and release all their anger on the inmates.
Right. And remember what we read earlier. It's only in Parchment, 1 guard to 160 men. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Don't make sense. You done, Cap? Okay, so go to Sirach 30 and 21. With the sorrow of mind and the eyes failing, with that hope of, hey, maybe one day I'm going to get let out on parole, or maybe one day they're going to come in and take us out of this prison and take us to another prison while they fix that prison.
Yes, sir.
While they get it up to code. You know, like, man.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
This is what these brothers are doing. They committing suicide. Why? Because they don't have hope. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. You know, this is the mindset, because our mind has been destroyed in these conditions that we're in. You know, even out here in the free world, as they call it, right? Our mind is still conditioned to be destroyed.
Yes, sir.
through everything that we see, from the drug game to the gang life to even Esau's entities, for as politics and all these different things. It's all to what? Destroy our mind. For us not to look to the higher power, as I was support earlier, the Most High. You understand? Keep reading.
Verse 22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
It said the gladness of the heart is the life of man. That man, when he go to jail, he still can have some type of hope or aspirations to say, okay, I'm going to serve this time because I did wrong.
Right.
I'm still in communication with my family.
Right.
They still coming to visit. Like, you still have some type of hope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it seems that Parchment, all this is taken away. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Go ahead. You for the second?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his life. Love thine own soul, and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
It say sorrow had killed many. These men are in sorrow of mind, no hope. Okay, that's why they're committing suicide. That's why it's no hope. The food, all these conditions that they're living in, basically puts them in a mindset, nobody's going to help me. All right. And you have Jay-Z and Yo Gotti trying to help up the process. Right.
You done with that precept?
Yeah.
To touch on what you're saying about a lot of people, I feel like there's no hope. There's always hope. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got breath in your body, there's hope.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? The biggest thing that Esau wants you to lose is your hope and your
Right.
faith in the Most High. You know what I'm saying? These conditions that we are in is due to our misbehavior
Right.
and us turning our back on the Most High.
That's right.
Can we get Lamentations 3? Watch this. I'm going to show you something, because our forefathers been locked up and put in dungeons and things of that nature.
Right.
Prisons, snared in prison hoses. So these are the things you got to go through the scriptures and dissect it and say, where am I at to find my hope and my faith and not lose trust in the Most High, that he got me.
Right.
He got me. This right here is just it's a small thing, how they say in prison. It's a small thing to a giant. You know what I'm saying? It's a small thing. Because you have to go through these things to help somebody else come out of it.
Right.
Start at 44.
3 and 44.
Yes, sir.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 3,
Read it
and
fast.
verse 44. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through.
Right. So the Most High said, I cover myself with a cloud that your prayers won't pass through. And because God don't hear the prayers of a sinner.
Right.
Those who are rebellious, those who walk in contrary to God's commandments. So that's why he say, I'm going to put a dark cloud to. I'm not even hearing y'all right now. Go ahead.
Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people.
You said that made us an outcast amongst the people. That's why where do you go? You have nowhere to go. You're homeless. You're a pilgrim. These are things that the Most High try to say when I'm not dealing with you no more. That's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be an outcast. You're not gonna nowhere you go. You're not gonna feel like you at home.
Right.
You have no respect. You have to. That's why people all of a sudden is bending over backwards trying to gain Esau love. We trying to find somebody to accept us,
Right.
to love us, to appreciate us, because we feel unappreciated. That's what God is telling you. I'm gonna make you an outcast. I'm gonna make you a standalone. So jump down to 50.
Verse 50. Till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city.
Go ahead.
Mine enemies
See,
chase-
that's what our people have to understand. You can't just say I made it. It said the daughters of my city, my people.
Right.
They were being destroyed. It's a system that's set up for them. Why did didn't Joseph say that? Why did Moses say that? Moses
Right.
could have said that. I'm good. I'm the Pharaoh's grandson. Joshua said, I'm the next in command.
Right. Right.
I don't have to worry about y'all. Y'all can beat it. But no, they didn't do those things. Esther, a lot of us. Tobit risked his life, his job
Right.
for his people. But y'all the elites and the celebrities of the world, y'all are nothing like your forefathers.
Right. At all.
Nothing like them. Y'all not like Moses. Y'all not like Christ.
Right.
Y'all don't sacrifice y'all life for y'all people.
Right.
And when it comes to standing up, you'll turn the blind eye. Go ahead.
Mine enemies chased me sore like a bird.
You see what
without
your enemies
cause.
doing? It say it will chase you sore. You're gonna keep running and running forever until you just die of just run out of breath. You're gonna die of dehydration or something. Go ahead.
They have cut off my life in the dungeon and cast a stone upon me.
You see that? It say my enemies chase me. Obviously got caught. They chased him to where, just like you chasing a bird, you just chasing the bird, you just trying to catch it. You just got all type of traps, all type of ways of trying to catch that bird. He's slippery, but you say, I'm gonna catch this bird. That's what he said the heathens, his enemies, are doing. And they finally trapped him and caught
That's
him
right.
and put him in this Jeremiah right here.
Yes, sir. Bring it out.
This is Jeremiah, prophet.
Right.
So they're going to find crime. A lot of crime is fashionable. Like you got death, like killing and shooting and robbing and breaking into people's house.
Right.
Them are suitable crimes. But a lot of crimes are fashionable. Jaywalking, seatbelts. A lot of these are fashionable crimes that everybody say we shouldn't do that. We don't want to court. Then make it a crime.
Right.
Make it a law.
Right.
So teaching your people to repent and keep God's laws, that they shouldn't do that, that is a fashionable crime.
Right.
Right.
So it's they have cut off my life in a dungeon. A lot of our brothers and sisters' lives been cut off in prison.
That's it.
Right.
They lost hope.
Right.
They don't feel like they have purpose in life anymore. They feel like God don't love them anymore. Their life been cut off in a dungeon, locked in a hole. Just like what Captain brought out was Isaiah 42 and 22. They snared in prison houses, in a dungeon, life cut off from the so-called world that they came from. A lot of them, they family don't come and see them anymore because Esau had you locked up in a dungeon 3 hours away, and your family don't even have a vehicle.
Bring it
Right.
out.
Right. Yeah.